This is Emonews and we are live in the Rose Valley at the PADU Power Station. Now after Maria, Domlec went on a drive to build back resilient and to build back better, and so today we are taking you down to the power station to see all the works that Domlec has been doing. This is going to be quite the walk. As I heard, it is about 242 steps down, so we may lose service, but we'll attempt to show you as much as we can. In the background here you can see some beautiful engineering right there, and we're about to take you down. This area is not open to the public, so you are getting a once-in-a-lifetime view today. So we are going down in the Rose Valley. If we lose service, then you will know. We trust that we can show you the beautiful sights and view, and then you will get to see all the works that Domlec has been doing. You can see these are some of the people on the tour today. It's going to be quite the walk. And there we see them getting ready for the walk.
You didn't choose Sergeant right now. You want to do something before we go down?
Okay, no problem.
Yeah,
okay. This is the PADU compound, which contains up here the PADU switch house and down below the PADU turbine house. Okay, you may see two buildings here. One is what we term the new PADU switch house, since that was constructed in somewhere around 2009, 2010 thereabout, and the old PADU switch house, which is no more in use, and which we use as a storage area, and that was constructed way back in 1966 thereabout. Okay, the switch house from the turbine house, the power flows up to the switch house where it is distributed via interconnectors and feeders. Okay, so that this is where we do the switching and the isolation to the PADU Trafalgar interconnector, PADU Fonkole interconnector, the Trafalgar feeder, which supplies the Trafalgar village, the south feeder, as the name implies, supplies the southern part of the island, and then you have the north feeder, which is a bit of a misnomer, since it goes to Fonkole, which I guess is northwest of here, so hence the name north feeder. Okay, of course we have 2 step-up transformers here, and now we're going to have a very interesting walk down 200.
Before we go, there's a feature I'd like to point out. So we've been looking at the pipeline from all the way from the Trafalgar Power Station coming out the various sections that were damaged. This pipeline you see here, if you can just feature on it, that is the end result of the pipeline coming. All the last part of the pipeline comes into PADU, right? And then goes to, and then goes all the way down. You will see some of it when we're going down the stairs. Down to the water turbines, the hydro turbines, which turn, the water turns the turbine, and then you have, it generates electricity. So this is another part of the pipeline that we've been basically tracking on the way down, right? So yeah. Thank you.
So we are about to make our descent along those 200 and something steps.
Now for safety, please, it's a very long way down. As I said, 200 and odd steps. So please take your time, hold on to the railings while you're going down. Right? And some parts of the railings, we're rebuilding some aspects of the railings. So just take your time going down, and so that you don't slip. Because it's a long way down. Safety is #1 for us. Right?
That's not solid.
Yeah, so some of the railing is being worked on, so it's not that solid. So take your time.
Okay.
You can see the pipeline, same pipeline going all the way down to the turbine.
So this here is the pipeline that comes all the way from the Trafalgar power plant. And some parts of this pipeline was damaged during the hurricane. There was a part at Wavin 4 that we saw earlier, which was damaged. And the buildings are in the lovely Rosa Valley, as you can see. The lush full-time forest. And we are taking our time descending this steps. To get all the way to where the electricity is being generated. So we'll see how far we can go, how far we will get service, because as you can see, we are in a fort, as we say. I'll show you the back here, what we've done so far. So we are going down in the valley. So we made the service somewhere down here. Is this the Trafalgar? Excuse me, hi. You can find out if this is still Trafalgar. I think this is still Trafalgar. But this is the power station at PADU. Yes, it's about 242 steps. Is this still Trafalgar? Okay, so this is PADU in Trafalgar. Yes, in the valley. So these are the pipes that Domlec uses to get the water, the hydroelectricity. And I'll show you in a bit how far we've come so far. Yes, it is a long way down. I'm surprised that we still have service. I don't think this area is open to the public. And we have made it all the way down. We have made it all the way down. And I'll show you how far we've come.
Everybody here? So here we have what we term, remember earlier when we were giving you the briefing on all the three sections? This is the PADU turbine house, which was really devastated after Maria. The river and all sort of debris and everything came through, knocked open the doors, came through, went through, and destroyed all the equipment. So what you see there, 90% of what you see there is brand new equipment that we've bought, right? From a company in England called JIT. And as I've indicated, we're looking at maybe over 2 million, almost 3 million EC dollars worth of equipment that we had to procure and install. If you look inside there, you will see some Caucasian looking gentlemen. They are from our manufacturer of the equipment called JIT. They are here for the next couple of weeks working with us to have the equipment installed and recommissioned. This first set of guys that are here are what they call the installation guys. And then when these guys complete, they'll go and then another set of guys come in called the commissioning guys. These are the guys that are gonna test and start up on all the equipment. So all of this is set up and scheduled to coincide and in sync with all those works that we featured up. The PADU penstock, the Robin Fund, and all these other areas. We coincide and all should be completed at around the same timeline so that we can start up and bring the PADU system back by the dates that you have indicated. In here we have two hydro generating units, PADU 1 and PADU 2. These big pieces of equipment you're looking here are actually the generators where the electricity is generated. And then the water comes down in these pipes, turn some turbines, which turn these generators, and then you have the electricity is produced and it is sent back up to the top where you see the switch house and the transformers. This is basically it.
So how, saying that this station is not up, how has that affected the electricity generation in Dominican?
Well, we have this, when this station is fully up and fully functional, we generate maybe approximately 1.4 about 1.4 megawatts of electricity this station is capable of producing. Now, how does this affect the whole system? In that, without this station, you will have to replace it with 1.4 megawatts of diesel unit. And whenever you run a diesel unit, it's diesel fuel and it's fuel surcharge and all of that. Right, so it is not our desire to have this situation, this station out of service for too long, which is why we have pumped all of the resources and the funds into this. We have brought down jigs, we have every available Domlec key related person assigned to this project. Right, you won't see all of them here right now, but they at various stages they will be involved. So all of our efforts and focus is on bringing this station back so that 1.4 megawatts that we spoke about, we will no longer need to run it will displace 1.4 megawatts of diesel. So that is our intention, to push to get this station on or before October.
So presently, do we have other areas where we generate the hydro electricity?
Yes. So we have two other hydro stations. This first station where we stopped, where we met and introduced each other. That is the Trafalgar Power Station.
Okay. So presently it's working.
It's working and running and no issues.
Okay.
Then further up in Loda, we have another station that's called the Loda Power Station. That is also up and running with no issues.
So my follow-up question would be, are we looking into more stations so that we can generate more hydro so that the bills can eventually be lower?
What you're asking is that if we intend in the future to expand our hydro capacity. Right. It is something that we have looked at. We have looked at it and we're assessing the feasibility of it. Because the thing about hydro generation, installation, the capital cost required to get a hydro plant up and running is very, very high. Right? And although when a hydro plant is running, it displaces diesel and a fuel surcharge, but then there's another aspect you need to think about. Every major capital project that Domlec goes into somehow may affect the rate base. It doesn't affect the fuel surcharge, but it will affect another aspect of our tariff called the rate base. So we also have to be careful of that we don't embark on a project that is too capital intensive and it is not economically feasible. So we have to assess that very carefully. Another thing we have to assess is that there are other renewable technologies out there. You know that geothermal, government, we're working with the government with geothermal. So we also have to bear that in mind when making those decisions on capacity. There are other renewables, solar, PV systems. So we have to look at and make sure that whenever we make these capital decisions, right, it is in the best interest of not only Domlec, but of our customers, of course. So we have to look at the numbers and do the calculation, do the feasibility, and see the effect. So that, excellent question, but it's not as simple as that. Yeah.
Okay, you spoke about the other renewable energy sources that we could generate electricity from. Would you say that Dominica is on course to actually achieve dependency on renewable energy?
My personal opinion, yes. Okay, let me just tell you why I say that. And when Ian comes in, he can add some more to that. So right now, approximately 30% of Dominica's energy generation is from renewable. 30%. Some countries don't have that. So we're lucky as a start. We have that as a good start. Now, there are plans with the government to bring in 10 megawatts of geothermal. Our peak, at best, before Maria, was about 18 megawatts. So if you bring in 10 megawatts, then that will bring us closer to the full renewable energy generation company. And then this is a matter of looking at maybe other technology, maybe hydro, maybe solar PV, and maybe additional geothermal or other renewable sources. So I think it is very doable, but it will take a lot of work, planning, working together, Domlec, government and other stakeholders, regulators and general public and other agencies, ministries, etc., to have that done, right? Ian, you wanna come? She asked a very, very good question about if we think that we are on track or it is feasible to have full renewable energy generation. In other words, our generation capacity, fully renewable. And that's an excellent question.
Definitely. And I know that's the government's plans by 2030, right? I think it's quite possible, as Dave would have been mentioning, we have the geothermal speaking about 10 megawatts, hopefully, and you would have heard it in the Prime Minister's budget statement by 2024. We are quite confident it could come around. I know Dominicans have been hearing about geothermal for years, and they would really like to see something happen on the ground for them to believe it. But I mean, I understand how it is, but we are working closely with the DGDC in terms of some other projects associated with the geothermal. Obviously, when you have 10 megawatts, which is a large chunk of power, you need to make sure it can evacuate it from the geothermal plant. So part of it is to upgrade the transmission and the distribution network, which we are in discussions with the owner's engineer of the GDC, a company called Softco. So a lot of planning is going on at that stage. They have reached the point where designs are almost completed and they should start the procurement process, right? So again, to re-emphasize the point, we believe that at least for geothermal, it's quite realistic. The other opportunities of solar PV, the IRC just recently wrote Domlec indicating that Domlec has been awarded a build, own, operate 4.5 megawatt PV solar plant. So we are, looking at in an internal level right now, looking at trying to get that going, right? A couple of things we have to analyze before we confirm that that is a project that we will engage in 100%. So again, as Dave was mentioning, when you look at system load, it's about 16 megawatts now. If you talk about 10 megawatts geothermal in 2 years' time, possibly 4.5 megawatts solar, we have close to 5-6 megawatts of hydro. Obviously seeing where we could be in excess, and then there are discussions with regards to perhaps getting another 5 megawatts of geothermal 2 years after the 2024 commissioning date, right? However, one has to recognize, and not to be too technical, right, that hydro operations, geothermal operations, the turbines associated with those two technologies pose some restrictions in terms of how the machines can respond to system disturbances. So we may still need a diesel set or two on the island, which is to cater for what we call load following. If you have what we call frequency, and again, don't want to be too technical, you have frequency deviations. These machines tend to pick up quicker than the geothermal or the hydro machines to respond, right? So again, some little details that we have to iron out, but for the most part, right, I think we're quite on track to establish, even if you want to say clean energy as opposed to renewable, there's some subtle differences there by 2030.
It is possible.
So right now we
can do a quick
can
walk
go in.
through.
A lot of tripping hazards there,
Yeah.
just be careful.
So
Just be careful.
A lot of cords, cables, and so on, just watch your step. Yeah.
For those of you who have children in common entrance class or in high school, have them listening so they can get an idea of how
You have to be
energy,
very careful here.
is being generated.
Have to be very careful here.
So here we have these
Watch your camera thing, right? Just kind of, yeah. Be careful.
transformers. These are transformers.
No, it's a generator.
What is that?
Turbine and a generator.
So these are what converts the water to the electricity.
So the water will come in, and you'll probably see it as we go around the corner. The water will come in to a turbine. The water will spin a turbine, and the turbine is coupled to a generator. So that mechanical energy coupled to the generator will generate electrical energy.
What's your step?
So this
As
is
you can
also
see-
like an opportunity.
As you can see, we have two gentlemen from overseas. The company is called Duke. They are the manufacturers of these equipment. So we brought them in here, as I indicated, to assist us to do all that we can to get these things ready as soon as possible so we can put these systems on there. Right? So we're working close with our guys. All these what you see in here is brand new. Right? As I say, a lot of money Domlec has put.
We run a rotator, so it's the alternator, and pretty much operates like an alternator in your vehicle. Start with the engine, and then
You can see the guys hard at work to bring the PADU station back up. Here we have the factory.
So once the water is used up by the hydro, that's from the PADU turbine house, the water goes right back into the river.
Is it a continuous?
It is a cycle, but then the thing is this water goes down into the sea. But remember, the PADU power station starts from up in Loda in the Clacks River. So we get the water from up there and from the freshwater lake, which comes down into here. But when it gets to this back, the end of the, because this is the end of the hydro. No, it's not a cycle because remember the water comes from up, but whatever comes down here flows back out down into the river. Right? So you can see.
But this area is not open to the public.
No, it is not.
So you are having a once in a lifetime opportunity to see all that goes on behind the scenes.
That's right. No, it's not open to the public. So you're privileged to be here today.
And you can see some of these stones. I bet they were put here because of,
Oh yes,
of
Maria changed the entire landscape of this place. I mean, it just wasn't like this. When we came here the first time, we were wondering, where are we? Because it just changed the total landscape. You know what you can see in front of me there on the left and the right. Maria just changed the entire landscape.
And I saw saw something looking like steps right there. In the
That is some. I see one of the telecoms company has their transmitting site up there. So
that's not
that is in
the
Port
area.
that other area is on Port on the other side.
It look really good from the top.
Yes, it does.
So we are about to end our visit. So you see the guys are hard at work working on the generator. You can have a look in here. The water comes up and goes through here. Oh yeah, that's the area. So the water comes through there and down this side. This is a good electricity lesson for the students to get a first-hand view of all that happens behind the scenes to generate hydroelectricity. Such heavy equipment. And so after the water comes through here, somewhere along this line, it is converted to electricity and run to the wires that we saw above earlier. Hi.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm alright.
So what is your position here? What do you do here?
Well, I'm a fitter mechanic.
So what do you do?
Well, we installing the new turbines and generator.
Okay. So if I wanted to be a mechanic, a fitter mechanic, you said?
Yeah, fitter mechanic.
So what kind of studies would that entail?
Well, that would entail automobile engineering. That's the degree I have from college, yeah, associate degree,
Okay.
and City and Guilds.
Okay. And do you enjoy your job?
Yeah, so far.
Okay. Thank you for saying hello to Emonews.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we need to ease the fit. But it's good to have you guys on board. All right, thanks, Dad. Cool. All right.
So we're about to say goodbye from the PADU station. And we thank Domlec for this opportunity to see all that is going on behind the scenes. Hey.
Yeah, she's putting me on the spot there. Miss Benjamin is putting me on the spot. But it was really nice having the media on tour with us today. We started at the Trafalgar Power Station. We came down the penstock. Quite a lot of work has been done along the line. All the pipes that were washed out during Hurricane Maria. So those pipes are now being fitted back, with more support, more resilience. And we ended here at PADU Power Station. As you can see, all around the work is being done. We really want to have PADU back online. And so we're really happy that the engineers from JILKS are here with us, trying to put this power station back together. We thank Emonews for being with us today, all along the way. It was a real joy having her. And we really want to thank you. Thank you, our viewers, for viewing and for your supportive comments and for the support always. So from all of us at Domlec, thank you.
And with that, we are saying goodbye and thanks for joining.